Good Tuesday afternoon, and thanks for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Right now in 6 states across the country, polls are open for several crucial primary elections. Oregon, Idaho, Alabama, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Kentucky voters are all casting their ballots. And all eyes are particularly on a Senate race in Kentucky, seen as a test of President Trump's power. Senator Thomas Massie is up for re-election, but he's broken with the White House on several occasions. So Trump is endorsing his opponent, former Navy SEAL Ed Galrein. Massie is a Republican and has been a senator for years. He opposes the Iran war and led the charge to release the Epstein files. Galrein is more closely aligned with President Trump on the war with Iran. This morning, we have good news on the wildfires burning in northern Minnesota. In just the last few hours, officials confirmed the Stewart Trail fire near Two Harbors is now 100% contained. Here's brand new video giving us our first up-close look at the damage left behind. The Stewart Trail fire started burning Friday, burning just over 350 acres. In this video, you can see cars and trees are burned out. Officials say 34 buildings have burned down, including 8 homes and businesses. Meanwhile, in the Brainerd Lakes area, officials say the Flanders fire is now 60% contained after burning nearly 1,700 acres. Crews say they believe the fire started by Flanders Lake. No word yet on what sparked it. Developing this afternoon, Twins star Royce Lewis is being demoted to the Saints after slumping early this season. Lewis batting just .163 this season with 3 home runs and 13 RBIs. He's also committed some errors on defense in the 270 innings played so far this year. Lewis was the first overall pick in the 2017 MLB draft. This is the second star player the Twins have optioned this season after pushing outfielder Matt Wallner to St. Paul last week. Right now, a federal agent is facing charges after shooting and injuring a man in North Minneapolis during Operation Metro Surge. Investigators say 52-year-old Christian Castro shot through the door of a home, hitting Julio Sosa Solis in the leg. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty also added a charge for falsely reporting a crime after he said he was being attacked with a shovel and broom. The criminal complaint says city surveillance and evidence contradict that story. Castro has not been arrested yet.
Do we have any idea where the ICE agent is right now? No. There are also mechanisms out there to find him, and I feel pretty confident that we will get him in here to start this process.
In a statement, an ICE spokesperson called the charges a, quote, political stunt, but said lying under oath is a serious offense, and the U.S. Attorney's Office is investigating the ICE agent's statements. Right now, Minneapolis has a new idea to tamp down on shootings across the city. The police department is launching a new investigative team specifically for non-deadly gunfire. It's worth noting this idea did not come out of thin air. It came from across the river. Here's Heidi Wigdahl.
We are in the Phillips area in South Minneapolis, an area that for too long has been disproportionately impacted by gun violence. Particularly, these areas in South Minneapolis have a high concentration of Black, Brown, Native, and immigrant neighbors who unfortunately face the brunt of gun violence on a daily basis.
But City Council member Jason Chavez and other leaders believe a new task force could change that. About 2 months ago, the city launched its Firearm Assault Shoot Team, or FAST, treating non-fatal shooting investigations similar to homicides. After a non-fatal shooting, an investigator with the FAST team responds immediately to the scene.
Start working the case immediately, just like we would do in a homicide, instead of having a detective who typically investigates some other crime go out and start it, and then wait for the investigator to be assigned Monday morning or the next business day.
And we're seeing just within weeks, if not months, of implementation of this non-fatal task force, the doubling of case closures for non-fatal shootings, and have helped homicide rates get to about 80% in their respective clearance rates as well.
The data is not a surprise after what Minneapolis has seen across the river in St. Paul.
There's a saying in the field of being a mayor, which is good mayors copy and great mayors steal.
St. Paul has seen significant success with its unit, solving 71% of non-fatal shootings in 2025, compared to just 21% in 2021. So far in 2026, the city's at 63%. Legislators recently passed a bill that includes $905,000 in grants that will help other law enforcement agencies across the state do the very same thing. In April, St. Paul Chief Axel Henry testified at the Capitol.
Non-fatal shootings is one of the top levers to drop our homicide rate. The county, you heard the numbers the county's experienced. St. Paul, we dropped our homicide rate last year by 50%. 50.
And how many of those homicides did they solve? The chief says 100%. Now Minneapolis is hoping to follow in St. Paul's footsteps.
I hope that this initiative will be something positive for our communities.
Minneapolis has also created a violent criminal apprehension team focused on making arrests in those non-fatal cases. We have to update you now on some breaking news in Brooklyn Park. Right now, police and state patrol are searching for the driver that hit and killed a woman on Highway 252 overnight. They say the crash happened near 73rd Avenue North just after 1 a.m. and that the woman was walking on the southbound side of the highway. State patrol shut down the area while they investigated, but it has since reopened. Well, now to a horrific shooting at a mosque in San Diego yesterday that police are currently describing as a hate crime. 3 adults were killed when authorities say 2 teenage gunmen opened fire. NBC's Morgan Chesky is in San Diego with more.
Yeah, we're here outside the Islamic Center of San Diego, where if you can hear the helicopter overhead, that lets you know it's still very much an active scene here from investigators. And overnight, we've learned that FBI conducted a search in one of the suspects' homes. Those 2 teenagers we're learning so much more about. Authorities saying that it was the mother of a 17-year-old who called San Diego police yesterday morning, warning that she was afraid her son was suicidal and that she believed he left home with a friend dressed in camouflage, and that there were multiple firearms missing as well as her car. Police tried to trace its location at one point, dispatching officers to a nearby mall, another to a nearby high school, until the report of that active shooter came in from this very Islamic center behind me. Police arriving in minutes, immediately encountering those 3 deceased victims. And it was reports of additional gunfire that led them to a vehicle mere blocks away, where inside they found the bodies of that 17-year-old and 18-year-old who they believe took their own life. Senior law enforcement officials are telling NBC News that there's alleged anti-Islamic writing that was also recovered from that vehicle that will likely go into what investigators are doing, just building a case going forward in hopes of learning more about this horrific tragedy that's left so many people in this community in mourning. We'll send it back to you.
We are getting our first look at a statewide effort to crack down on distracted driving. Nearly 300 departments handed out 5,500 tickets in April. That's a lot of people busted for driving with their phones in their hands, but still about 1,000 less than last year. So what should we make of it? As Kent Erdahl explains, it depends on who you ask.
Distracted driving enforcement is a moving target within a moving target for law enforcement. Heck, even talking about it,
I'm behind the wheel, but I'm not driving,
presents a challenge.
It happens in traffic court all the time. The judges see it and they're like, "Are you driving?"
Sergeant Josh Moore has seen just about everything during his time coordinating enforcement for St. Paul Police, which used a special pickup equipped with cameras and multiple officers working together to lead the state with 912 citations in the month of April alone.
We had several incidents where the person was stopped within moments before another stop. Within 15 minutes, they're getting stopped again for being on their phone.
15 minutes after originally getting a citation, they got another one?
Yes, we've seen that. We're along a corridor with 6 to 8 officers. The person will get stopped. We write a ticket, release them. They go on down the road and another officer spotted them again, right back on their phone.
According to the Office of Traffic Safety, this year's enforcement included a driver who received their 6th violation of the hands-free phone law. And unlike habitual drunk drivers,
it's everywhere. It's at different times of the day, different days of the week.
And sometimes State Patrol Lieutenant Mike Lee says it resembles drunk driving.
It seems like, man, this person has to be impaired. But when you get up there, they just admit, hey, I was looking at my phone. I didn't see you behind me. I didn't hear your sirens, all that stuff. I'm like, well, you were all over the road.
But there is good news. Not only did the number of statewide citations drop by about 1,000 from 6,450 in April of last year to 5,426 this year, but the number of fatal distracted driving crashes went from 30 in 2024 to 20 last year.
If you see a decrease in numbers, you hope that what we're doing is making a difference.
That appears to be the case along Highway 7, which went from 5 fatalities alone in 2024 down to 0 last year after installing AI-equipped cameras that help officers spot distracted driving. But maintaining that trend will remain a moving target.
I still think it's a big problem. When we first started doing this enforcement, people would have the phone up in front of their face, in front of the steering wheel. You see a lot of it now where people are holding the phone down along their thigh, trying to hide it, and their eyes are looking down off the roadway at the phone. So it's, in my opinion, even more dangerous. It's so ingrained in us as people now that I don't think people even realize they're doing it.
This law took effect back in 2019, and since then we've seen big leaps in tech to help keep our cars safer and to help law enforcement catch people. But at the same time, for many, phones have become even more addictive. Stick with us. There's more news and weather coming up after the break.